Welcome to another episode of Disaster Empire. I'm Ashley Guzman, and this is the podcast where we talk to thought leaders and innovators in the field of resilience. And I'm thrilled to have James Corbett with me this time to talk about something a little bit different. I think everyone is talking about AI and chat platforms. We all know the big one that everyone's talking about, right? But this one is a little bit different. So I wanted to share with you what James has been working on, particularly for the law enforcement community. But before we dive in, I'm going to give James a minute to talk about his bio and share that with you. So welcome, James. Thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to field the football over to you, so to speak. And let's get rolling.
Cool. So I keep things usually pretty short and to the point. So I'm an entrepreneur. I went to Stockton, then I was going to Columbia for my master's degree in negotiation, conflict resolution. I actually ended up leaving because I was super inspired to help the community in the way that I saw fit. And my heroes have always been the crazy guys, the movers, the shakers, the dreamers, like the James Dysons of the world, the Steve Jobs of the world, Elon Musk's, Bezos, all those guys, right? All the way back even to the Polaroid, Edward Land. He's another one I think a lot of people forget about, but Edward Land is another good one. But anyway, bottom line is, I just wanted to be a part of that kind of mission. I wanted to have that kind of mission for myself. And I thought no better way than to help out society that is around us directly. So
I know you're involved in a few different things, but let's talk about the AI platform that you created for law enforcement. Can you talk about the inspiration for that, what it's all about, obviously what it's called, and how people can get involved in it?
Yeah. So IMPaCT is the name of it. And our little guy, our little AI bot, his name is Fuzz. And it's a little hat tip to the 1960s and 70s, the Fuzz.
Sure is.
And also there's an AI algorithm. It's a fuzzy algorithm. So it actually takes data that isn't necessarily easy to understand, and you can actually make it connect. So we're using even a little bit of fuzzy algorithms in the background too. So people who understand AI are going to be like, whoa, that's really deep. And we meant to do that from the marketing side to create something that really fits with law enforcement. So the way we're doing it is law enforcement has known of a problem forever, where I was just talking to a guy the other day who was like, hey, man, you know what the vision is? If we could actually have, one record management system where everything gets, organized right in the middle and everybody has access to it, that's the dream. I was like, that's exactly right. That is a dream. That is not reality. That'll never be reality, because proprietary software and government contracts and monopolies and things like that, you would see it get shot down right away. So the way that we're entering into the space, however, is we're the anti-record management system. So we're creating what's called a communication management platform that is AI powered just for law enforcement and security companies. So, or companies with large security apparatuses, like you could talk about casinos, hotels, large corporate security firms, things like that. And we unite them into one central area, one central platform for easy access, but also snapped on top of that, again, is that AI, where if you're talking about something similar, you're in the same department or you are from different agencies on this platform, we'll be able to make the connection between the two.
Thanks for that, James. So run me through a little bit more about this in terms of the gap that you were trying to fill. Is this like ChatGPT, where I jump on and ask a question and it comes back, scraping information from the internet to give me an answer? Or is this more like a Slack or, platform like Teams, where I can get on and like a fusion center and talk to other law enforcement throughout the country, whoever's on there, about a question I'm having or challenge or connection around a case or something to that effect?
So ChatGPT, so the G stands for generative. So it's not necessarily that it's searching the internet for things for you, but it is generating responses.
Right.
And, the creative responses. So it's not something you should lean into oh, that's the answer. Because there's a lot of times where ChatGPT is actually wrong, but it does set you on the right path. And it can help you out to maybe come up with something or find something depending on, what you're asking. I just want to make that quick
No, it's a great explanation.
Yeah. Because that's like a lot of people are using it as like, oh, this is the answer. It's like, no, it's not,
you gotta
man.
Fact check it. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make sure you're using it properly. It's for creativity. It's generative. Now, the one thing that we are doing, and there's obviously some tools at ChatGPT that are amazing. One of them is the summarization tool, right? Mm-hmm. So there is something that we're doing. We wish we could use ChatGPT, but we can't because it is open, right? So something that we're doing that's really special with our platform is we can't see anything on our end at all, ever. So we're actually achieving at rest, in transit, at rest, in transit, and in use. My goodness, that's the key. The in use encryption. So at rest, in transit, and in use encryption. So the whole way of the life of your message on our platform is encrypted, which immediately makes us compliant with pretty much anybody. HIPAA, CGIS, FINRA. Of course, there's other things that FedRAMP. There's other things that we have to do as well. That have to meet the requirements, like how we're handling the data on the back end, who has access to it, role-based access, things like that. But to make it really simple, we're building a ChatGPT, but for law enforcement in our platform with a focus on, again, the number one thing is, let's say you and I, Ashley, are talking about case information, and we come across, and I'm going to bring up my dog, a husky that has wolf sable coloring and blue eyes, and lives in or was around and walking around the Philadelphia region. Then you, Ashley, were speaking with a husky that is from this area. And was just involved in like a theft, like they just stole some food, because that's what huskies like to do. And just stole some food up by you, and you were called in. You and I are going to be talking about that, and then it's going to ping me, fuzz, I'm like, hey, someone's actually talking about something similar to you on the platform right now, and these are the points that they're talking about. Do you want to get connected? And then if I say yes and you say yes, we're going to get connected automatically in the platform. And that's something that's really special about the platform. Of course, that's a big vision where we have to have a bunch of people on it and using it. So to overcome that, we need to get funding, of course, and to get investors to help us market. But I do have some things in my back pocket right now that I'm going to leverage, and some contacts I've developed really good relationships with. Nice. A couple of them I would even consider like mentors at this point, genuinely. Well, one of them in particular. So we're going to have to overcome we have to create our own network effect type moat, if you will, and that's a business term for the network effect, meaning we have so many users from this direct market that it becomes the de facto. So
go-to. Yep. Mm-hmm. So talk to me a little bit more about that. Do you consider yourself in the startup phase or
big time?
Yeah. Okay. So are you doing like crowdfunding? Are you looking for sponsors? I mean, I want to help you get the word out there. It's a great concept, and I'm sure there are a lot of folks out there in law enforcement security that would love to have a tool like this.
Yeah. So one of the things that we're doing, it's not sponsors that we're looking for. It's actually more investors that we're looking for. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we're looking for those investors, for people who want to, especially dual use investors who are looking to invest in a company that actually has a market that has a dual use. So security, private security, as well as, law enforcement, because it adds to that network effect, to the moat itself. We actually can build a deep moat around ourselves if we can execute on capturing these people quickly. One of the ways, by the way, that we're going to do that, we're actually coming up with something else that's a part of this virtual fusion center idea. And I know I haven't even said that yet, but if you think about our concept, if you're a law enforcement officer and you just so happen to be listening to this, or you're in OEM, you're an Office of Emergency Management, you're listening to this, think of us as that fusion center where you can quickly add people into a team, into a room, and you guys will be able to share information instantly. Here's something that we're doing. We're actually building a tool where we're going to be able to connect an entire county, town, or even city through our platform in a make sense manner where we can collect data directly from citizens using the community policing methodologies without your officers having to do much except for, maybe partner with different organizations to put up QR codes all around your city, right? So we're actually going to have QR codes directly connected to some of the rooms in our platform that we're going to let officers use to collect data. So let's say a really good example is school shootings. So school shootings is a huge issue. One of the top ways to prevent school shootings is how well the reporting systems are. Because most of the time it's the person that does the shootings, the people that report it to prevent it from happening are coming from the students themselves, right? So the peers are the ones that are reporting it. So we have to create something that is anti-app, if you will, where it's there for them when they're ready to do it. Also, the same thing for human trafficking. I talked to a couple of human trafficking survivors, and when I brought up to them, like, wouldn't it be great if you had inside of like a hotel or motel room, like a QR code that said need and exit? And then, by the way, that need and exit came from one of the human trafficking survivors. She actually gave me that phrase. I was like, whoa. And because it takes us to the next level, because it understands that, hey, as soon as you scan this, there's going to be a way for you to report that you are yourself in danger. And you need to get out. So we're combating slavery and we're collecting data for officers direct. Also, a part of that QR methodology, aside from putting these QR codes all around your towns and cities and communities, you're going to have it on your phone. So if you're in front of someone, so let's go to a car accident scene, a really simple one to use. Officers have to take witness statements, right? So they have to take witness statements and they have to take victim statements. And a lot of the time they're interacting with people. It takes, could take an hour or more to be able to get all these statements and write it all down on a notebook. And then that notebook becomes discoverable, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. To help that out, we're actually launching something out in a couple of months. We have a patent pending on it where we're actually replacing the notebook, and a person scans a QR code that the officer, generates. And then as soon as that person is done finishing filling out like a form, it's going to send it directly to the officer, and wherever so the officer can then also, before he even gives it to the person, have it pinned to a room, have it sent to direct contacts like sergeants or whoever that they have to have it sent to their leadership, all automatically. As soon as a person hits submit, it does it for them. So it makes their lives a lot easier.
Absolutely. Hey, how did this idea get started for you?
And I'd take a sip of my coffee for that. So it's really hard to explain the creative process sometimes, but I can tell you it's chaotic. And I consider myself genuinely a creative and a problem solver. And I think I have a skill set that when you give me a problem, my brain actually can quickly put together what I learned from the past, from other people, and then put it in there and then come up with new creative ways to solve a problem for somebody else. And it happens fairly quickly. So to answer your question, the way I came up with it was a lot of reading and a lot of preparation and a lot of research. And then I started talking to the people who have the issues. And then I can come up with the solutions to these problems in the middle of conversations. Actually, I'm like, oh, I know how to fix that problem. Fuck, it's this way. And then it happens. So I can't, there's no like aha moments. There's no, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's actually just research and spending time with these people and giving, giving a crap. I'm not going to curse, like giving a crap, right? I was going to use the S word, but that is what I do. And I embedded myself in this community for the past, X amount of years at this point, to finally figure out how I can help them and add to the greater society that's around us.
So I have a question for you. I'm hearing your focus, but I'm wondering if you've thought about, are there any applications? I work a lot with businesses and talk to a lot of peers in the industry space there in terms of security, safety, business continuity. In that space, do you think there's any applications for what you're trying to build for corporate security teams as well? Big
time. Let's go to corporate security. Let's go to security in general, actually. We're going to do two examples, okay? We're going to do corporate security and we're going to do amusement park security for fun. So which could be arguable corporate security. But anyway, absolutely.
It's a corporation.
That's right. That's right. arguably one of the most important customers that we're going to try to get are actually corporate security and also larger security firms in general.
Okay.
Because, so let's say you're at a place of business. Let's say it's a corporation. Let's say it's a one in New York. It's a big skyscraper, and you have 5 different corporations that are inside of this, and then there's physical security on premises. Physical security on premises. What they can do, let's say a person feels like they just heard one of their coworkers like, "Oh, I'm gonna fuck it." I'm sorry. I didn't mean to curse, but I'm gonna effing come back and shoot this place up.
Yeah.
And then that person's like, "Oh my God, what?" And then they can go to, and what we're doing is we're actually giving a location to. We have a suggested location of where these QR codes would go for ultimate privacy, where security cameras can't reach or nothing can reach. It's for the person directly. They'll be able to scan that QR code and submit to corporate security, or the physical security firm, like, "Hey, this is what I just saw," or what I just heard and saw. It could be saw too, and then submit all the forms to them directly, and then they can respond faster. Now, let's think of it from the perspective of, instead of physical security, let's say it's a corporate security firm that they have an executive that's going to another state or something like that. They'll need to perform. They'll actually have to reach out to law enforcement agencies or other security firms in other towns and states and cities and be like, "Hey, we're coming through. This is what we're doing." Communicate with airports, private airports, things like that. They could literally have rooms dedicated to all of those different partners that they have to go to organize all their communication inside of our platform in a secure environment. So it'll actually help them to secure their clientele and secure the people that they are protecting overall. I'm sure there's other ways that they could use our products and platforms other than what I just mentioned, but it's really just getting in front of those people to, learn. For the amusement park example, it's very similar to that physical security one, where let's say there was somebody's getting beat up, or somebody feels like they have a threat that's being made towards them or something. They don't feel safe. They'll actually be able to scan QR codes and submit directly to, or scan the QR code and submit directly to corporate security right there on premises. And then if they stay at that QR code, they'll be able to get, somebody will be able to respond to them in a timely manner, and they'll know exactly where they are. So those kind of things. So, yeah.
All right. James, thanks for that. And I like to hear kind of the dual approaches that you're taking in terms of the public sector and the private sector. I think there could be a lot of synergy there as well.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a question that I ask all of my guests, and that is, how do you define resilience? That is the overall theme of this podcast. So love to hear your thoughts on that.
So I run an organization. Also, I founded it with 2 Army buddies of mine. I'm civilian. The way I just said that makes it sound like I'm saying I'm Army too. I'm not. I'm not in the military. I was not a law enforcement officer, none of that. But I founded it with these guys because, again, my creative brain came up with something, and I was like, "Yo, this is what I got, guys." They're like, "Dude, that's a great idea. Let's do it." I was like, "Let's go." So we started this thing together, and it's called Project Refit. The way that I have learned to define resiliency recently, actually, and it will be a forever mantra of mine. My second one I've ever come up with. My first one is, you cannot achieve peace without understanding. It's literally impossible. Understanding is the bridge to peace that goes across bounds, countries, nations, relationships, all of it. It's as simple as that. You want peace? Get understanding. Well, check this out. What about peace within yourself? And, can break it down even further. And this is actually what I came up with for that. Your purpose must be greater than your pain. So, and the reason why I say that is because what I learned from these men and women who are in the military, especially those guys who are on the front lines slinging bullets, they had a direct impact on the safety of our entire country, of their communities, direct impact, right? And their purpose is great when they're in, right? They have a ton of purpose. If they're not there, the guy next to them arguably will die, right? That is purpose. That is a lot of purpose. They come out, they have to find purpose and keep their purpose driving forward, because they're going to feel pain, physical pain, not only from stress, but also from how their bodies got beat up in general. And they must find purpose that is greater than that pain that they're feeling, because they need to consistently embrace that suck. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that is why I think purpose has to be greater than the pain itself.
Yeah. And I think that helps you to keep driving forward, right? And learning from what you experienced. And as you said, the pain, we don't say that it always goes away. It may lessen, but it's how you deal with it, right? How you get yourself up from those challenges that we experience in life and move forward, and hopefully with help become stronger. So thank you for that perspective. Hey, I could talk to you all night, but unfortunately I got to let you go soon. But I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to share with this audience that you haven't had a chance to talk about yet?
Oh, there's a lot. But listen, when it comes to the product impact, like I said, we're trying to, connect communities, but we're also combating slavery. We're trying to bring communities back around law enforcement to the communities again, in make sense ways, and really empower communication overall for communities to create a safer future for everyone. So if you want to learn more, hit me up. Let's talk.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. And really, it was great having you on. Loving hearing about IMPaCT, and I'm wishing you all the best with the product. I'm going to make sure to link below so that if people are interested in learning more, they can do that, as well as reach out to you if they'd like to participate. So please let us know how folks can do that as well. And then Project Refit, really wish you all the best in that work additionally. So we'll make sure to link that as well. Hey, before I do let you go, do you have a fun fact that you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, James Dyson, 5,126 times he failed before he actually created the Dyson vacuum cleaner that you know of today. Is 5,127th was the one that succeeded. And he was in debt for like 20 plus years. And then he finally drove himself out, and it was his wife that told him to continue forward.
Excellent. So that tells you about, right, the importance of having support around for the dreams that we have, and really being consistent and moving forward, holding on to that dream, as you said. And it's a great idea, in my opinion, that you're coming up with. So I really can't wait to see the evolution and how it moves forward. So make sure you continue to link with me and connect. Love to have you back on to talk about it as well in the future. And thank you again for coming on. Thank you so much to the audience for listening and checking in to Disaster Empire Quick Views. Please like and share, because that helps to grow the channel. Thanks for coming on tonight, James.
Good talking to you too. See ya.